So yeah, I'm really excited to come on to it with Moon Teitel today. I'm Frances Goodall, if you don't know me, to talk about ancestral healing. We have an upcoming workshop on this theme. So today we're just going to talk a little bit about the power of this work. So yeah, Moon, do you want to start us off? Anything
Yeah,
for you or in terms of your practice around this work?
yeah. I've been thinking a lot actually over the last couple of days about the theme of coming home to ourselves in preparation for a workshop presentation I'm doing next month. And I feel like ancestral work is such a deep part of that, because we are carrying around all these imprints and experiences, that have been passed to us through epigenetic memories, epigenetic changes, and experiences from our ancestors. And we don't even realize how they're affecting the ways that we're moving through our lives and how they're affecting our sense of self and our sense of safety and experience in the world. And so it's been both my personal and professional experience, and I know yours as well, that when we begin to bring awareness to these imprints, we begin to experience our wholeness in a different way, and we can bring healing and resolution to painful and difficult experiences of the past and how they move into the present.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's I was blown away that I'd done so much healing work on myself, but still had so much trauma in my system. And it was only when I really started to open to ancestral healing work to really understand the layers and levels of trauma that we can carry, and then to get really curious and want to train in it more, to be able to understand that more, to work with it more for myself and for clients with family constellations, and then later with internal family systems, which also works with how parts of us can be hold burdens from our ancestors. And you also mentioned epigenetics there, so that's all about how our genes can hold those traumas, and genes can change, but I've also heard that actually there is evidence to suggest that through healing work and therapy that those genes can switch off as well. So I also think that health, for example, health issues that might go through down through families, sometimes it's actually it's based in trauma, but people think of it as, oh, there's heart disease in my family, or is there heart break in my family and deep pain that's not been resolved. So I think, yeah, it's such a fascinating field, and such an important conversation and such important work, I think, ancestral healing.
It is really fascinating, and I love what you spoke to, especially there at the end, how these genes can be switched on and off,
Yeah.
through trauma and also through healing.
Yeah.
And so, yes, and how we can understand illnesses, for example, that move through a family line as connected to experiences that have happened in our family, and we can bring all of the healing tools on the path, like you spoke to the tools of IFS and EFT and family constellations and many others, we can bring in to support that healing. And it's really powerful and such a gift both to ourselves and to our ancestors, and also to the future generations, to be able to do
Absolutely.
this work. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so deep, important, and powerful work. And yeah, I'm really grateful to the fields that address this level of healing. And yeah, and even recently doing some energy medicine work around how we can use energy medicine to help clear the imprints as well, which we're going to talk about in our workshop as well. So many different ways we can go in and sort of support the healing on this level. And yeah, is there anything else you want to add, or should we leave it there for today?
Um, yeah, I just think it's so powerful because there's so many different like imprints within us. And so to be able to work with them and to bring the subconscious conscious, and to be able to have more awareness of like why we're making the choices we're making, like why we're experiencing life the way that we're experiencing it, can just be so liberating.
Absolutely, yeah. So this kind of work can contribute to our physical health, to being in better physical health, but also emotional health, mental health as well. Yeah, and I've heard lots of stories of people who haven't been able to fully shift something until they've addressed the ancestral healing layer as
Yeah.
well. So
Yeah. And I think the last thing I just want to say, what I find is like it's just so powerful, like when we're ready or when it needs tending to, it shows up. And so like for example, like I don't know what you find with your clients, but I find with mine, it's just like like, because we have that awareness of that possibility, like that space is open in the room. And so it comes in when it needs to. And then like we have this upcoming workshop where we've set an intention and said, okay, like we're opening this space for all of us to do this work together. And so like everyone who feels called in, it's like that space is open and it opens up into that space. So that's like one way I find we do the work, like in this way. And the other way is the space is open and whatever imprint shows up at whatever time, like brings about the healing.
Yeah, no, totally get that. Yeah, it makes sense. And I have heard it said that, like, yeah, well, actually, people have different perspectives, but that it's really great to have done quite a bit of your own personal work, like anything from your own childhood or teenage years, that kind of inner work, or maybe, you know, work from being in the womb, and then go on to the ancestral layer once enough of that is sort of cleared from your system, and then do the deeper work. But I have heard of other people saying actually you can do it the other way around, but I think it feels safer to me, and it was certainly my experience was to do a lot of my own personal work before moving on to the ancestral work. So
That's so interesting.
yeah.
My experience is really different. That like the pre and perinatal imprints like show up when they're ready for healing, and the
Yeah.
ancestral imprints, but I haven't had it. Yeah, it's
And they
just
can be
me.
very connected as well, though, actually, because it's like those early imprints of from the ancestors as well can be very much in those early imprints from being in the womb and those early years as well, in terms of what you absorbed from what was just in the field of your parents' energy and genetics, you know, in that early stage. So
Yeah, definitely. And I don't know, for me that it feels like there's like a distinctly different quality. Like there's almost, it's hard to describe, but there's like a texture and like that shows up in the room with pre and perinatal imprints, and like a texture that shows up in the room with ancestral. And for me, they show up really differently. And you know, like there's a texture to our teenage years that's like so distinctly different from the other parts of our lives. Yeah. Anyway, it's all so amazing. And I love the, like, yeah, just the variety of experience. Yeah.
So yeah, we look forward to exploring this work with you. If you feel called to join us for more on this, and we can both support you with this one-to-one in our upcoming workshop, probably future workshops if you're watching this in the future. And our website is womenswellnesscircle.com, and
Thanks.
and we'll put more details below. Okay.
Down below. Bye.
Bye.
We're still recording.